Welcome back to another episode of the Even Your Dynasty Show. It's Monday. Hope everyone had a good MLK Day. We're going to talk today about the Jordan Hicks signing that took place this past Friday. The Giants signed right-handed pitcher Jordan Hicks to a 4-year, $44 million contract. To start off, we're going to talk a little bit about Jordan Hicks, and then I'm going to kind of give my thoughts on it and where he might fit in and if I think it's a good deal or not. So a little bit about him. He's 27 years old. He's a three-pitch guy mainly. He has worked out of the pen for almost the entirety of his career, only having made 8 career starts to this point. I said he's a three-pitch guy, mainly fastball, sinker, and sweeper is kind of a newer pitch for him this year. Um, Kind of the pros with Jordan Hicks. Throws, flamethrower. Has a 100-mile-an-hour sinker, which is incredible. The sweeper that he started throwing this year was really an effective pitch for him as well. So is able to mix his speeds a little bit better now. So that might help him going forward. Other positives for him, he's going to strike out probably more than a batter an inning. Uh, has a minuscule home run per 9 ratio of 0.76 for his career. And then kind of the negatives for him, he's wild. His command has been an issue to this point. He's walked almost 5 per 9 in his career. Even last year, I believe it was about 4.4 per 9. So still walks a ton of guys. That may impact him if the Giants are truly wanting to make him a starter. And this is kind of how I view this signing is I think if they want to use him as an actual starter, if they're going to let him go 5 or 6 innings, not as an opener, they're not using him like Ryan Walker where he faces 8 or 9 hitters and that's it. Like if they want to actually use him as a legitimate starter, I love this deal because if it doesn't work, you can just put him back in the pen, which is fine because he's a proven late inning arm. He has 32 career saves, so in a pinch, you can put him back. You can put him out there to save games. I think he was 12 for 15 last year in save opportunities. So if you need to give Doval a day off, throw Hicks out there. If Doval's going through a funk or Doval gets injured, you can throw Hicks out there and you feel better about that because as we saw last year, we all like the Rogers twins and they have some nice pieces around the pen, but when Doval wasn't ready, the 9th inning it gets increasingly difficult. So having a guy like Jordan Hicks is a great weapon. Now, the Giants' intention supposedly is to actually use him as a starter. And one of the main concerns I've been seeing around is people saying, he's never going to be able to stretch his arm out enough for it, yada, yada. You look at his career, the most innings he's thrown in the majors in a season is 77, which I think he can stretch out his arm a bit. He threw 100. He was a starter when he got drafted by the Cardinals. He threw 105 in 2017, which is his last season in the minors. But the Cardinals, as most would have seen, saw a guy that throws a 100-mile-an-hour sinker and said, "Let's throw that guy in the pen where he can just leave it all out there for 1 inning and blow guys away." So since he's been in the majors, hasn't started a ton of games. Like I said, it's only 8 games that he started thus far. That said, he has shown he can throw 100 innings. Now, what I see is kind of his ceiling is kind of a Tyler Glasnow like player. You look at a guy like Tyler Glasnow, he's only thrown 100 innings or more 2 times. He last year being the most he's ever thrown, which was 120. Now, maybe the Dodgers are going to try and stretch him out further, but the reality is he's a guy that has not thrown a ton of innings, and he might start the game but only give you 4 or 5 innings, but he can give you 4 or 5 very effective innings. So I think kind of at his best, Jordan Hicks can be a Tyler Glasnow type player. Now, the difference is Glasnow's 30 and the Dodgers are paying him $27 million a year. Hicks is 27 and the Giants are going to pay him 11. So that could end up being a good deal for them if he turns into that kind of player. even if he doesn't, this is part of why I like this deal. Is you like like we touched on earlier, you can throw him back in the pen, and $11 million is really the going rate for a late inning pitcher. I think Taylor Rogers is making about 10, $11 million. So that's just the going rate for a late inning reliever. So whether he's a back end starter or a late inning reliever, they kind of got market value on Jordan Hicks. So I actually don't think it was a gross overpayment on this one. This is actually a pretty solid deal. I love that he's 27, getting younger and kind of building a core to go forward with is kind of where they should be going. Now, doesn't solve the issue of them needing star talent. It's not going to move the needle. It's not going to make people excited. I mean, yeah, as much as we will love watching possibly back-to-back guys coming out there throwing 100 miles an hour, it's not a needle moving move. So, but overall, I do think it was a prudent move. I think it was a good move. I like it a lot better than giving Blake Snell $30 million a year to give you 130 innings. So I really think it's a solid move. Steamer projections for Hicks this year. They have him pitching in 50 games, but making 15 starts, throwing 115 innings, 3.62 ERA, 7-6 record, which I think is attainable. I don't think that's that far out there, especially if they do plan on starting him. The starts could be more if he does well in that role, or it could be less if they just figure out early on that he's better off in the pen. So kind of see where that goes. Now, where this leaves them, this leaves the Giants at a 208. This is according to Roster Resources. Um, Puts their competitive balance tax payroll at $208.4 million roughly, which is approximately $28.6 million under um, the first threshold where they could pay penalties. Um, their actual payroll, I believe, is only at about 168 million. So, they factor in things like benefits, all the pre-arbitration players, minor league contracts, bonuses, deferred payments. There's all sorts of things that go into the competitive balance tax payrolls. But it sits at 208.4 currently. There is still plenty of room for them to add another big bat or a big player. We're not hearing a ton out there. I know they've been linked to Chapman pretty heavily. Um, I think with this deal, they probably are out on Blake Snell. Supposedly they're not, but I don't see that happening. Supposedly he wants some ridiculous contract, which not shocking. Scott Boras is his agent, but I just don't see that one happening. Cody Bellinger is one they should go into. That's going to be my next video, is talking about why they need to go after him. But they do have plenty of room that they could bring in a big contract and still be under that threshold that I know they generally do not want to go over. So still plenty of room there. We'll see what that exact number is. JD Davis and the Giants are going to have to go to arbitration, so that could move. Now they were only like 350,000 apart, and the estimate for him is at about 6.72 million. So this is that 208.4 mil number is factoring in his estimate, but it could move slightly depending on what he actually ends up getting. So we'll see there. But as I said, overall, I think this is a good deal, and it's a good step in the right direction. But it can't be it. I mean, they've made some nice moves, but really overall, this offseason has been somewhat of a bust because they haven't accomplished their main goal, which is to bring in stars that drive fan interest. But I will digress on that for today. We'll be touching on that one on the next episode. Tell me your guys' thoughts. If you guys like the deal, if you don't like the deal, like, subscribe, follow me on Twitter if you want to see more there. It's Twitter. My handle is the @EYD show. So thanks for everybody for the support. Look forward to hearing from you guys, and we'll see you soon.